How the LGBTQ movement is helping the growth and evolution of the human species and our eternal souls, a spiritual perspective. This is part 4 of 6, From the Perspective of Eternity. First, the end does not justify the means, so don't let anyone tell you that. For those who are controlling or manipulative, living from a place of fear, it may seem acceptable to follow some crazy fear-based idea, such as locking up everyone who is of a specific religion, or enslaving people based on race, or ostracizing and bullying an entire group of people because of their sexual orientation. Less extreme examples include isolating someone from life and other people under the guise of protecting them, denying someone information they are interested in by claiming it is evil, and so on. This is quite obviously a very fearful and cowardly tactic to use, despite surface appearances typically seeming otherwise. Creating fear within the people you are trying to lead does not bode well long-term and is not sustainable. Even if the methods wound up creating a quote-unquote better environment temporarily, it is not our job as human beings to dictate or control other human beings. It is our job as human beings to make sure we are each the best version of ourselves that we can be, and allow others to do the same without judging their choices about how they wish to live their lives, as long as they are not harming others. By the way, it is so much easier to go within and focus on bettering only yourself than it is to try and wrangle everyone around you into your ideal via force and control. Not only do you have just one person to worry about at that point, but you become much more open and accepting of others' choices for their lives simply because you realize and understand that they are the only people with all of the information that will apply to their situation, intuition and emotional input included. Vice versa is also true, and realizing this may initially cause some anger and rebellious feelings toward anyone who may have controlled you in the past. That's okay. Don't act on anything, but allow yourself to feel those feelings and understand that you have been traumatized and betrayed, and recognize that anytime new information like this comes to you and it rattles your sense of reality, you will need to make your way through the stages of grief, also referred to as the stages of acceptance. For people who are still trying to control you, allowing you to be yourself and accepting you as such will seem like the end of the world to them because you might ruin their reputation by being something other than their ideal version of you, which serves as an extension of them and has the ability to enhance their reputation. For someone who is a reputable member of a Christian church, for example, finding out that their teen may be questioning their sexuality will immediately result in criticism of the teen, speculation about mental illness, and essentially giving the teen the impression that they are unlovable, unacceptable as their true selves, evil, and going to hell if they pursue a lifestyle that may actually make them happy and allow them to experience the type of love that they desire in their heart of hearts. Depending on the individual circumstance, they may not have received the unconditional love they desire during their lives. Otherwise, they wouldn't be looking for love in all the quote-unquote wrong places as defined by those who are well-meaningly dictating their decisions to them. What's worse is that all too often, when someone comes out to their parents, the parents do not accept them for who they are and may even abandon them. While I don't know what it's like to come out to my parents, I do know what it's like to have them ostracize and abandon me for changing too much, so I can definitely say that it fucking hurts. I know a little bit about how people who don't understand the LGBTQ movement think, because I used to think the same way. However, from a higher consciousness perspective, it's obvious to me now that the purpose for these expansions in self-expression and expressions of love is to help the collective, the entirety of the human species, to expand our way of thinking and open our hearts to the possibility that the way we've been doing things all along isn't working or sustainable, including love and relationships. The way we've been defining love for ourselves isn't actually love, but all we knew was codependency and manipulation, so waking up was painful. The way we've essentially tried to put everyone into a box that's either black or white, without allowing any leeway for exploration and growth as individuals or as a species. Rather than cultivating understanding and compassion, we have been cultivating labeling and shaming others as if that's normal and acceptable. You can't prove your own morality by treating your fellow humans as if they are below you in any way, shape, or form. Period. This also begs the question, do you think that Source makes mistakes? I certainly don't. Just because we lack the imagination to foresee the potential purpose for individuals feeling like they have been placed into the quote-unquote wrong body or gender doesn't mean that there isn't a divine purpose for everything we're experiencing, this questioning of gender and sexuality included. Do I claim to know what it feels like to not belong in my body? Kind of, but not in that way. So I can't judge that because I haven't had the experience aside from feeling like I'm a stranger on the planet itself, a misfit everywhere I went. I don't feel like I should have been a man rather than a woman, but I certainly think that others do feel that way. And who am I to judge that, condemn it, or be nasty to the people who do feel that way? It simply is not my place to condemn someone for a choice they make, even if it is a different choice than what I would make. Like I said before, I don't have all of the information that they have, and emotions are important, so if someone feels that they aren't the right gender for years on end, I trust that they know their own emotions better than I ever could, because I am not them. You don't decide that you're trans. You discover that you're trans. Ray. Now, the next thing I would like you to think about for a moment is the big picture again. Think in terms of generations, lifetimes, or thousands of years. Now, you are a soul and you have a body. So don't think from your human mind or ego perspective. Feel this idea with your heart as well. It isn't so much comprehension as it is coming to a deeper level of understanding and acceptance through imagining eternity. It is always stretching on forever and ever, but it is also now. This is where it can get a little weird to wrap your brain around. Now and eternity all exist simultaneously each and every moment. The only reason we experience time in a linear fashion here on Earth is because of the sheer density of the physical realm. We are physical beings, but our souls are love and light energy, so we have an etheric body that also exists simultaneously along with our physical body, and our souls are actually way too powerful for a whole one to fit into one single human body, so to speak. The best description of this that I've come across is from Dolores Cannon, and says that our souls are multifaceted, so we may exist in several different timelines and dimensions at once from our soul's perspective, living as other human beings, other genders, animals, extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings, or plants. Some souls go on to become planets and stars, So really, the connections become obvious, and eternity makes more sense from this bigger view. And this physical existence also makes more sense, because we suddenly have a mission. To go forth and experience everything we would like to experience in this lifetime, and bring that knowledge and information back to Source, to the collective, so that we can all tap into it when we want to. Along the way, we are presented with challenges to overcome and hardships to learn from, and the better we become at allowing life to teach us in its amazing and incredible ways, the better we become at embodying the light and love that we are at the core of our being. The only reason we are so tied and attached to our physical human rules and systems is because nobody has been taught to tap into their own personal power and responsibility since masculine energy took over thousands of years ago. When you do tap into your own soul energy, suddenly the choices of other people become just that, the choices of other people. Not your business. Live and let live. If you don't want to do the thing you're so against, then don't. But don't deny others a chance at happiness, love, and freedom because you don't understand where they're coming from and never will in this physical reality. You may understand after crossing over or dying, but our memories are suppressed when we enter this physical realm, and this is, from my understanding, the only planet where this forgetting happens to us. And it is because our human minds would not be able to comprehend everything at once the way our etheric energy or light bodies can. Imagine for a moment that you don't have a physical body. You are your original self, your eternal soul, energetically connected and intermingling with all of the other energies in the universe, and choosing and planning which life to incarnate into next. As an eternal being, you're not limited in your perception, because you literally are connected to everything in existence ever, and you are aware of it. You also have memory of every experience you've ever had or will ever have, because time is not linear in the rest of existence like it is here on Earth. Earth, from what I can gather based on the information I've consumed, is the most challenging place to live because it's like a school, Dolores Cannon. Imagine each lifetime is like a grade level, but because we're eternal beings, we have all the time in the world. So if we fail to learn an important karmic lesson within one physical lifetime, our souls will return to try again. We literally have all the time in the world. All the time that the world has, we have. Obviously, this can happen for thousands of years, as our souls are eternal, and we don't always come back as the same being. Some people have recalled past lives as flowers and trees, and even as part of the atmosphere itself, and that's just here on this planet. Now, why does this make more sense than living one single physical lifetime on this earth and then dying and living out eternity in either quote-unquote heaven or hell? Eternity is a long time. To scale this concept down a little bit, imagine that you're only allowed to ever purchase one vehicle during your physical lifetime, which is typically about 70 to 80 years. Our bodies are like vehicles for our eternal souls, so consider this an as above, so below metaphor. Whether this vehicle lasts for 50 years or 5 days, it's the only one you get, and when it's gone or broken, you're not allowed to get another one. This would be an asinine regulation to impose on people, so why would you impose that same regulation in the bigger picture on your eternal soul? Multiple lifetimes make more sense to me simply because without change and growth and evolution, eternal life would stagnate and die. We would literally cease to exist if we stopped moving, growing, changing, and evolving. Even the Earth is speeding along at a cool 36,000 miles per hour, so not only do we live with the clever collectively created illusion of separateness, We also live within an illusion of stillness when really things are constantly moving and changing. Each of our souls has both masculine and feminine energies, although one tends to be the dominant one. Please note that these energies have very little, if anything, to do with our physical body's gender, although I suspect that the majority of the souls incarnating here have traditionally chosen the gender they are most comfortable with because the collective human species hasn't been ready to open up their consciousness to this particular experience until now. This is the whole reason why the LGBTQ movement and community are even in existence. Eternal souls piloting physical vessels that don't fully align with how they feel within, their dominant energy, in order to rise up as they step into their power to show the rest of us a better way to love and be loved by disregarding old rules that not everyone agreed to in the first place. We're living, at times, based on ancient rules and systems that were created to help an infant species understand something way beyond their comprehension. Well, I hate to break it to you, but we're growing and evolving extremely fast these days because information is readily available and instantly accessible, meaning that those of us who choose to can learn for our entire lives and continuously grow and expand and evolve as souls and as human beings. This big picture perspective is why non-judgment in each moment is so important, not only when it originates from you, but also when you experience it originating from someone else. You can probably feel it if someone is open-minded and open-hearted, and typically you can also pick up on the vibes if someone is harshly judging you or looking at you in a condescending, "I'm better than you" sort of way. And it hurts. It hurts to feel judgment radiating from someone outside of yourself, especially if that someone is a person who has claimed to love you, meaning you for everything you are, not just the parts that they like or agree with, and then performed actions that illustrated the opposite. This is a deep, emotional, and soul level of broken trust that can take a lifetime to heal. And even if it is healed in general, it may not be rebuilt or healed with that particular person depending on the circumstances. When you choose to truly be yourself 100%, love yourself on every level unconditionally, then this type of treatment of you and behavior toward you from the people who throw the L-bomb around without fully understanding its meaning can be crazy-making, frustrating, infuriating at times, heartbreaking, and finally, empowering, because one human emotional system can only take so much suffering before it rebels against its pilot and refuses to function properly in this toxicity. Sometimes this takes 3 years, sometimes 30. It truly depends on the individual being treated this way and how committed they are to working toward personal growth, freedom, and peace within themselves and their lives. Let's get something straight and completely clear right now. Nobody is better than anybody else. Different, sure. Clashing too much to associate with each other in this current time-space reality, also sure. Or, if someone has done something heinous or horrible to another human being or living thing on purpose, I could see how we would assume we're better than they are. However, remember, even the things that we perceive as bad serve a divine purpose and are divinely timed to help us as a collective species in our growth and evolution on a spiritual soul level. The lessons the earth and this physical reality have to teach us only seem harsh when we don't understand the bigger picture. So cultivating a growing and expanding perspective can be very beneficial as you walk your own unique path. This judgment of others and meddling in other people's lives, trying to tell them that their decisions, which they feel and know on levels an outsider may never fully understand, are somehow bad, evil, immoral, wrong, lesser than, or not human, is extremely damaging no matter who you are. Dehumanizing people happens on a very regular basis even now, whether we catch on to it or not. Think of all the times the media has led us to believe that a certain group of people is somehow dangerous, such as Middle Easterners all being lumped into the category of terrorists. This, at least in my experience, has been used as a manipulation tactic because who wouldn't be all for bombing a country full of terrorists? If we found out they're just like us, there would be resistance to these forms of force, control, and dictatorial behavior. This is a great example of fear-mongering in my book. This is very similar to Nazi Germany dehumanizing the Jews in order to turn the rest of the people against one single group, the scapegoat group, which can also be seen on an individual basis if a group targets a specific person to bully or harass, which happens quite often in school scenarios with exclusionary cliques and massive pressure to fit in rather than be accepted for who you are. The need for a scapegoat is an aspect of being disordered or psychologically ill, potentially on the NPD spectrum, and this type of disorder is in the same category, the dark triad, as psychopathy and sociopathy, making it one of the most dangerous and undetectable forms of dark energy in the world. When someone labels someone else something dehumanizing, think feminazis, Trumpanzees, etc. This is a method for manipulating others into believing that these particular people are somehow below the rest of humanity. I myself am guilty of using some of these terms in the past, so don't think that if you have done this that you're doomed or anything like that. We can all grow and evolve and change our perspectives when we learn new information or have new experiences to incorporate into our point of view. This leads me to the next topic of discussion for this admittedly long piece. It's like I couldn't stop myself though, so I really feel like I must share all of this with you. The next section will cover the topic of dehumanization in more depth to offer a deeper understanding of this idea and why it is so harmful to people who are subjected to this type of treatment. Again, if you feel at all overwhelmed or need a break, please take one. The next section is also pretty intense, so I encourage you to relax, have some tea, go for a walk or something, to allow the previous information to settle in and release any triggered emotional energy that may have come up for you. Love and light to you, my friends, especially through the tough topics. Thank you so much for listening, watching, reading, however you might be consuming this information. I appreciate you being here, and I hope that I see you in the next videos. There are 2 parts remaining, and after that I will post them on my website for easy reference, so that way there's no confusion. And if you choose to consume the entire thing at once, please keep in mind that some of this information may hold emotional triggers for you based on the way that we have all been raised and conditioned in this society, in this world. These beliefs that we are raised and kind of inundated with from birth, they are not necessarily factual. We are just led to believe that they are, and we are led to believe that the truth is the truth, or what they say is the truth, because we haven't been allowed to explore otherwise. So that's the whole point of these articles, is to bring expansion of consciousness, to help others to think differently about these difficult topics, about something as triggering for so many people as the LGBTQ movement. So again, I thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next video, and I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Namaste to you, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. No matter where you are on your journey, please take good care of yourself from within on all levels. If you'd like more guidance, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or visit www.innerworkcoaching.life for more content or to apply for one-on-one coaching. With unconditional love and light, I wish you an amazing week, and I hope to see you again for my next video. Namaste.